12,000 years old body of an Anunnaki king was found completely intact in Iran.
Something strange unfolded deep inside the Anunnaki's tomb, and the discovery shook the excavation team. Hidden chambers revealed artifacts unlike anything seen in Mesopotamian history. Alongside them were elongated skulls, sealed tablets, and traces of genetic material that shouldn't exist. Rumours spread of an accident on site, and some claim officials quickly removed evidence before researchers could document it. Was this the burial of ancient rulers, or proof of something far older guiding humanity? The tomb's secrets are darker than legend suggests. Join us as we explore the mystery of what truly happened in the Anunnaki tomb.
So we don't really know a great deal about him, except that he also died very young, probably around age 30.
The Starborn architects of humanity. Long before humans walked tall, the Earth was simply home to creatures still bound to the trees. But that was going to change. Over 7 million years ago, a remarkable event occurred on this planet. A chimpanzee rose on its hind legs. And from that moment, a new species of hominin began its slow and quite interesting journey. For millions of years, these early beings remained ape-like in appearance, yet their minds kept expanding with an extraordinary curiosity and knowledge. They designed crude stone tools, hunted massive animals, learned how to build fire, and also learned the migratory rhythms of the creatures that sustained them. Across millennia, stone spearheads evolved in shape and design, slowly advancing their technology. And then, 300,000 years ago, Homo sapiens emerged, beings capable of extraordinary thought, destined to dominate the Earth. But till today, people wondered how humanity advanced so swiftly, growing from the use of primitive tools to landing machines on distant worlds in a mere tens of thousands of years. According to ancient texts from Sumer, Egypt, India, and the Bible, a startling reality emerges. Humans were not evolved, but rather engineered. They were purpose-built as labourers for a superior extraterrestrial race known as the Anunnaki, Starborn visitors who descended from the heavens. These celestial beings faced a dying world. Their home planet, Nibiru, had once flourished under vast towers and radiant skies, but centuries of industrial expansion and volcanic fury had poisoned the air. Skyscraper-sized recyclers could not keep pace with choking ash clouds or the thinning ozone. The once brilliant night sky turned a sickly yellow. Stars vanished behind a heavy, toxic haze. Desperation pressed the Anunnaki into a daring plan. Mine Earth's abundant gold, a rare metal crucial to saving their collapsing atmosphere. Suspended in Nibiru's skies, gold could reflect deadly solar radiation and stabilize their world, offering the only hope for survival. Around 450,000 years ago, the Anunnaki arrived on Earth, towering in height and strength, over twice as tall as modern humans. They surveyed the vibrant, life-filled planet with both awe and urgency. They discovered creatures on Earth that resembled them in form: 2 arms, 2 legs, eyes and mouths, yet far smaller and still primitive. These early humans posed no immediate threat, but the Anunnaki needed a workforce capable of enduring grueling labour. The Agi, a genetically engineered, towering race, obedient yet intelligent, designed to serve. The Anunnaki deployed hundreds of their kind, along with twice as many Agi to Earth, establishing grand cities on the lush plains between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, which would later be called Mesopotamia. The Agi worked relentlessly, constructing massive towns in a week, then digging ceaselessly into Earth's crust to extract gold by the ton. For 150,000 years, they toiled under merciless oversight, while the Anunnaki ships transported precious metals back to their dying planet. Yet oppression cannot last forever. Whispers of revolt ignited into a full-blown rebellion, led by the legendary Igi hero Atrahasis. Bound no longer by chains and driven by defiance, the Igi turned their tools into weapons. Mines collapsed, cities became battlefields, and the Anunnaki struggled to maintain control. But what if defiance could not be crushed and instead sparked a dangerous new plan? The birth of humanity and the rise of chaos. Their world teetered on the brink of collapse, shaken by the Ig, their own kin, who refused to toil without end. Fury rippled through the ranks, and many demanded ruthless punishment, blind to the storm their defiance might unleash. Yet Enki, wise and calculating, saw a different path. He conceived a daring experiment. If the Ig would not serve, could a new being be forged, intelligent enough to think, yet obedient? In the deep forests surrounding the Anunnaki cities roamed ape-like hominids, our ancient ancestors, Homo erectus or Homo habilis. They walked on two legs, wielded simple tools, and displayed flashes of curiosity. Enki saw potential. With a touch of genetic engineering, these creatures could evolve into capable labourers. The first attempts were nightmarish. Lab experiments produced monstrous beings, cyclops, gorgons, two-headed giants, and banshees. Yet each horrific failure taught the Anunnaki a lesson. They adjusted their method. Instead of artificial incubation, they spliced Anunnaki DNA with that of a female hominid and allowed nature to take its course. The result was miraculous. A child, Adamu, was born resembling the Anunnaki more than his primitive ancestors. His name, meaning first man, or from the earth, echoed the sacred stories across cultures, from Sumerian tablets to biblical texts where humans emerged from the union of divine essence and earthly matter. Across the globe, myths described gods shaping life from clay or blood, hinting at an astonishing truth. Humanity's sudden rise in intelligence was no mere accident. Humans, fragile and sensitive, were not entirely suited to Earth. The skin burned under the sun, bodies succumbed to disease, and bones and backs ached under the planet's heavy gravity. Some scholars speculate that humans evolved elsewhere, on worlds with lighter gravity before arriving here. Yet under Anunnaki's guidance, humans thrived. Cities rose, fields flourished, and gold, the lifeblood of the Anunnaki, was mined with precision. The first woman, Hea, was created alongside Adamu, ensuring that this new species could reproduce and sustain itself. But perfection bred unpredictability. When human women caught the eyes of Anunnaki rulers, strict rules forbidding unions were shattered. From these forbidden relationships came remarkable offspring, Adapa and his descendants, who inherited intelligence, ambition, and a dangerous spark, violence. The first generation of obedient humans vanished, replaced by passionate, assertive progeny who ignored orders, clashed over resources, and multiplied rapidly. Chaos erupted in the city of Eridu. Food became scarce, and bloodshed was rampant. In response, the Anunnaki unleashed devastating plagues, drought, pestilence, and famine. Each time, Adamu's descendants appealed for mercy, and Enki intervened to restore balance. Though humans survived, they became a potent force, capable of shaping civilizations and empires. Yet their rise also drew legendary attention. Unions between humans and Anunnaki produced heroes like Gilgamesh and Hercules. In contrast, unions with rebellious Agi gave birth to terrifying Nephilim giants who terrorized mankind. As humanity flourished, an ominous celestial visitor approached. A glowing object, once a distant star, grew vast and oppressive in the sky. The Anunnaki, sensing imminent peril, prepared to depart, leaving humans to face the coming cataclysm. Humanity, born of ambition and genetic mastery, now stood alone against destiny's dark horizon, unaware that its story had only just begun. But what force could strike with such sudden, unstoppable fury and leave humanity utterly defenseless? When the earth shattered and the sky turned to fire. The farmer barely had time to notice the strange tremor before the world erupted around him. At first, he wasn't sure if it was the horizon bending closer or the forest itself swelling, but a sudden, frantic burst of birds taking flight sent a jolt through his chest. Then came the subtle hum, a vibration that crawled beneath his skin, forcing him to his knees as waves of nausea rolled over him. The ground itself seemed to convulse like a boat tossed at sea, throwing his barn into ruins and burying his home in splintered timber. Panic clutched at his heart. His wife and children slept inside, oblivious to the chaos consuming their world. Amid the shaking, his senses were assaulted by a cacophony of destruction. The corral collapsed, and thunder boomed louder than any storm he had known. A glance west revealed the familiar olive tree atop the grassy hill, the resting place of his ancestors. But even that symbol of permanence felt fragile under the relentless assault. Then he saw it. Mountains of fire leaping skyward, rocks larger than houses catapulted into clouds, and dark smoke spiralling as the morning sun vanished. The sky turned an ominous black, yet it spared him the gaze of the deadly disk above. He stumbled toward his shattered home, praying he might reach his wife alive. Hot coals sizzled at his feet, spitting flames into the tall grass, each one a forewarning of the fiery stones hurtling back to earth. The barn was obliterated, the shadows of incoming devastation growing larger, swallowing the landscape in dread. One massive shadow fell across him, and as its roar eclipsed every other sound, he whispered a prayer, surrendering to the inevitable. Elsewhere, the fisherman battled nature's fury from his small vessel. The earth quaked beneath him while waves thrashed and skies darkened into a suffocating void. Fiery bricks crashed into the water, hissing and exploding as if the heavens themselves had turned vengeful. Wind roared like a living beast, driving him to the ground, sand lashing at his skin and debris flying like missiles. Boats tore through the air in violent arcs. Homes splintered to dust, and even the most resilient knots threatened to give way. He pressed on, following the faint cry of a child, a distant call in the chaos. Then, as suddenly as the storm began, the world fell silent. Rain and wind ceased, debris settled as if a god's hand had dropped it, and the trembling ground stilled, though a deep, ominous rumble lingered. Survivors emerged, trudging toward hidden caves, weary and haunted. The fisherman's eyes widened in disbelief as the ocean itself fled, leaving a muddy wasteland, with fish flopping helplessly in the open air. Not a single bird appeared. Deathly silence reigned. Above the horizon, a monstrous wave grew, stretching higher than clouds, a watery mountain, the likes of which no human memory could hold. The fisherman steadied himself, resigned to the inevitability, embracing the power of the sea with open arms. Life as it had been known was ending. Far beyond, the Anunnaki observed, calculating the devastation of a flood long predicted. Debates had raged among them. Let humanity perish or spare a single righteous man. In a rare act of mercy, Utnapishtim and his family were chosen. They built a great vessel, carrying seeds of all living creatures. When the waters rose, sweeping continents beneath endless waves, they survived. Birds sent to scout the receding flood eventually guided them to an island, a mountain reborn as life returned to the world. Humanity had a chance to begin anew, rising from the devastation as the first survivors glimpsed hope amidst ruin. But if this was more than just a tale of survival, what secret knowledge were the Anunnaki trying to preserve for humanity? The ancient flood and the sky god's legacy. Long before the tale of Noah flooded human imagination, an older, far more mysterious story emerged from the ancient epic of Gilgamesh, written over 3,000 years ago. Nearly every culture on Earth tells a version of the flood myth, from Sumer to China, from India to the Americas. Though the names and details shift, the core story resonates with haunting similarity. A cataclysmic flood reshapes the world, and a handful of survivors begin again. After the deluge, humanity's early knowledge vanished beneath the waves. Civilizations were plunged back into a primitive state, stripped of wisdom and technology. Yet the resilience of humans amazed the watchers from the heavens. The Anunnaki, enigmatic deities descending from the skies, sought to guide these survivors, and some whisper that their intervention was directly linked to the strange event that something weird happened in the Anunnaki's tomb in a time before history. Rising from the seas, they bestowed the gifts of civilization: reading, writing, mathematics, astronomy, and engineering. Some researchers believe they even inspired the construction of colossal monuments such as the pyramids of Egypt and South America's towering obelisks, structures imbued with a mysterious purpose and precision that some theorists suggest is evidence of that same phenomenon, as if something weird happened in the Anunnaki's tomb that granted them, or perhaps required, this profound knowledge. The timing of these events is equally fascinating. About 13,000 years ago, Earth faced a great flood, possibly triggered by massive ice sheet melting or celestial events linked to the passage of a distant cosmic body called Nibiru. Some argue a meteor or solar flare caused it, while others point to the sky itself reshaping Earth's destiny. This cosmic rhythm may repeat every 3,600 years, hinting at a universe both beautiful and terrifyingly cyclical. When Nibiru last skimmed past Earth roughly 700 years ago, humanity saw the rise of Sumer, possibly the first organized civilization, a rebirth echoing the ancient pattern of catastrophe and renewal. The Sumerians meticulously recorded these events, leaving a trove of clay tablets brimming with extraordinary detail. They described a world touched by gods who rode chariots through the sky, who shaped humanity, and who wielded the power to destroy, with floods yet also nurture civilization anew. These stories were echoed across continents, from the Pacific Islanders to Native Americans, revealing a shared memory of a cataclysm that transcended geography and culture. Centuries later, Zecharia Sitchin brought these legends to modern attention. Through decades of painstaking study of Sumerian tablets and ancient languages, he proposed that the Anunnaki arrived from Nibiru to harvest gold, and in the process created humanity as a labouring species. While his interpretations are controversial, scholars argue many of his translations were more imaginative than accurate. His work sparked the modern fascination with ancient astronauts and sky gods, weaving myth, history, and speculation into a captivating tapestry. Though Sitchin's theories are debated, the enduring power of the flood myths remains undeniable. Across millennia, these stories preserve a warning: humanity is fragile, yet endlessly resilient. We rebuild, innovate, and push forward. By the year 2900, if cosmic patterns hold, humanity may no longer be earthbound. Colonies on the Moon, Mars, and beyond could make us a spacefaring species, ready to face whatever cosmic trials await. Perhaps by then, the sky gods will return not to punish, but to witness a civilization that has learned to endure and thrive against the odds. The flood, the Anunnaki, Nibiru, they may be myths, they may be history, but above all, they remind us of the delicate dance between survival and destruction, knowledge and oblivion, mortality and the infinite cosmos. Humanity's story, like the flood, continues to rise, unbroken and unstoppable. If the flood and Nibiru hint at forces beyond our understanding, then who were the beings guiding or watching humanity from the shadows? The hidden architects of humanity. For thousands of years, scholars and explorers have sought concrete proof of the Anunnaki, the enigmatic beings mentioned in ancient Sumerian legends. Once thought to be purely mythical, the cities of Eridu and Ur eventually emerged from the shadows of history, stunning the world with their sophisticated ruins. Yet one discovery in the lost city of Ur pushed the boundaries of belief even further. In 1927, British archaeologist Leonard Woolley uncovered a tomb that had remained hidden for millennia. Inside lay the skeleton of Queen Pabi, ruler of the first Sumerian dynasty. Her remains were extraordinary, not just because she was royalty, but because her elongated skull hinted at something far more mysterious. The initial reports from the site whispered that something weird happened in the Anunnaki's tomb, a feeling that only grew as the findings were analysed. Could she have been a human Anunnaki hybrid, as the legends suggest? Queen Pabi's massive, elongated skull mirrors, descriptions of the Anunnaki themselves. While mainstream science hesitates, efforts are underway to decode her DNA, though they face stiff resistance. Surprisingly, she's not an anomaly. Across the globe, similarly elongated skulls have been discovered, from the Peruvian Paracas Desert to distant continents, a global phenomenon that makes you wonder if something weird happened in the Anunnaki's tomb that was just one piece of a planetary puzzle. The Paracas skulls, some tested in 2014, revealed startling DNA traces originating from the Middle East, a region thousands of miles away. The thought of individuals with Middle Eastern genetics thriving in South America so long ago challenges conventional history. Some researchers, such as L.A. Marzulli, suggest that these skulls could belong to Nephilim hybrids, echoing the ancient tales of Anunnaki influence. The mysteries do not stop at ancient Earth. While Zecharia Sitchin's theories about the planet Nibiru remain controversial, modern astronomers may be closing in on a cosmic connection. In 2015, Caltech researchers identified a massive, unseen object far beyond Pluto. Roughly the size of Neptune, its elliptical orbit disturbs the Kuiper belt, lending credibility to the idea of hidden celestial giants influencing our solar system. Though no images exist yet, its gravitational signature is undeniable. Could these cosmic anomalies be intertwined with the enigmatic architects of humanity? Even our very evolution seems infused with inexplicable acceleration. Long assuming that intelligence stemmed solely from brain size, scientists were perplexed to find that Neanderthals possessed brains equal to those of modern humans. They built communities, created art, and even waged organized warfare. Yet somehow, Homo sapiens triumphed. The answer emerged in 2013 with the discovery of Homo naledi, a small-brained but astonishingly capable species. Despite their tiny brains, they crafted tools and engaged in complex rituals, proving that intelligence cannot be measured in mere cubic centimeters. A groundbreaking study from 2020 at the Max Planck Institute revealed the key: a single gene, TKT1, which in Homo sapiens is subtly but critically altered. This tweak accelerates neuron creation in our brains, essentially flipping a cognitive turbo switch. Unlike other hominids, whose TKT1 gene differed by only one amino acid, this tiny change allowed humans to reason, innovate, and dominate within a few generations. Neanderthals, once Earth's strongest and most intelligent inhabitants, vanished as Homo sapiens flourished. For hundreds of thousands of years, human evolution remained stagnant until this sudden neurological surge. Who or what flipped the switch that made us who we are today? And if something so extraordinary influenced our past, could it still be shaping our future? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.